Hey Bricks, it's Brickley here, and welcome to episode 16 of Building Mordor in LEGO. And in the previous episode, episode 15 of this building series, we've actually covered a lot of building over here behind the Black Gate. So this entire plain area has been built in the previous episode of Building Mordor in LEGO. Well, actually, this area right over here, as you can see, this outlining was actually already built in episode 13, but we made a lot of progress in episode 15, and I'm really happy with that. I'm especially happy with this area right over here, this lowered area with, of course, all of those slopes on the sides. I think that adds a nice effect to the entire view of all of the landscaping over here. But yeah, in the previous episode, I actually promised that I would work on the mountain over here on this side over here. So that's actually what we're going to do. As you can see, I actually started lining this entire section out. So I made an outline of what I want to create over here with the rock work. So this is actually what it's going to look like. And I purposely let this area right over here open because I'm actually going to create a little passageway into the mountain. And you're going to see a lot of epic stuff with that, but that's something for the future, because right now we're actually going to go and build all of this over here. I'm going to go and build a lot of the rock work. So I've already placed a couple of those burr pieces over here, and as you can see underneath the table, I actually got this entire bin, this box filled with burr pieces. Let me show you. You can see that I got a lot of burr pieces, so these are definitely going to come in handy while building the rock work on this side, the huge mountain. This isn't just rock work anymore. This is a huge mountain which we're going to build. So I'm really hyped for that. And I actually also got a lot of pieces to use for the rock building over here. So I got two of these big compartments filled with these 1x2 slopes. And this bin right here wasn't even emptied out for that part right there. So I really have too many of these 1x2 slopes, but I'm definitely going to put those to good use, especially in the landscaping over here in the future, but also in the rock work over there. So I got these 1x2 slopes. I got the 1x3 slopes, really a lot of those. As you can see, this entire compartment is filled up with those pieces. I got these cheese pieces, over 500 of those as well. So that's definitely a little Lego collection right over here, which is quite nice. Then I got these 1x1 bricks, so a whole bag filled with these, and I usually use those to fill up some sort of, well, empty spaces within the rock work, or maybe even just to add a little bit of detailing. As you can see right over here, I use that piece, so I frequently use those pieces to create a couple of awesome designs within the rock work. I got a little bag over here with the 1x2 bricks, so those are also really handy for building rock work. I got 2x2 bricks over here, and those are actually gonna, well, serve as a support underneath the burr pieces. So what I mean by that is that you can actually build stack a lot of burr pieces on top of each other, but eventually if you stack too many on top of each other, they will break off and they will just fall apart. So what I'm going to do is create a couple of supporting structures over here, which are going to play a key role in supporting this entire mountain. And I hope I won't need any other pieces aside from these and some other support pieces, which I'm going to show you in a second. But moving on to some other slopes, we got these 1x2x2 slopes over here. We got a couple of those random slopes over here. These are actually the inverted 1x2 slopes. I got a couple of these slopes right here. We got the 2x2 slopes by 2 height, so those are also really useful. I didn't use these pieces over there because I wanted to keep the effect only I wanted to only use the 1x something slopes, so I never used the 2x something slopes. So I'm really just going to go and use those within this rock work over here, because this mountain is just going to be huge, and I really want to use a lot of different pieces. And over here I got these inverted slopes right here. Don't really use them as much as all of the other slopes, so I'm fine with that. I got a couple of these 2x2 slopes, really useful, and of course these 2x2 inverted slopes and some other edge slopes. So really useful pieces over here. As you can see, I'm definitely going to put all of these dark bluish gray pieces to good use. And then in addition to that, I also got a couple of support pieces which I can use for the rock work. So I usually also use these pieces for filling up some empty spaces underneath the slopes. The 1x1 blue bricks over here, I just ordered them in blue color because they were pretty cheap on Bricklink. And then I got this bag over here filled with the 1x2 blue bricks. Those were also quite cheap on Bricklink, so that's why I got them in this color over here. And then finally, of course, as you can see, this entire area was filled up with these blue bricks. As you can see with this pattern right here, I actually removed these pieces. So as you can see, I got this bag with leftover pieces right here. And what I'm going to do with these is actually use them on this side over here, so I can continue building the landscaping in the future, and that's really something nice to look forward to. But yeah, in today's episode of Building Mordor in LEGO, we're gonna go and build the mountain over here, actually start building the mountain. I'm really looking forward to using a lot of advanced building techniques within this mountain, so I'm just gonna go and start building. But before I do, of course, if you are enjoying my Building Mordor in LEGO series, let me know by leaving a like to support this video. Go subscribe to Brickley if you are new to my channel, and of course ring that notification bell to stay updated on when I post any LEGO videos. And if you haven't watched the previous episode of Building Mordor in LEGO, episode 15, I highly suggest you go and click the card on the top right corner of the screen to watch that video, because I unboxed a lot of epic LEGO. As you can see, we got a lot of parts laying over there on that table, and that's actually from my huge haul over there. So I actually got over 10,000 pieces in my previous video haul, so that's really amazing. So I highly recommend that you go and click the card on the top right corner of the screen to watch that video. And if you want to save the playlist to which I manually add all of the episodes of my Building Mordor in LEGO series, I also highly suggest you go and click the card on the top right corner of the screen to go and save that playlist, so you can actually watch all of the episodes of Building Mordor in LEGO in the right order. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into building the mountain. So as you can see, I finished building quite a big part of the mountain. This is actually the main foundation of the big mountain, which is gonna be right around here. Over here, as you can see, that definitely is gonna look amazing with this foundation. And I'm truly happy with everything. As you can see from this angle, it really looks superb with a lot of detailing on the side of the mountain over here. That really looks amazing in my opinion. And I really tried to switch up all of the slope work over here. As you can see, I got a lot of slope techniques. I really used a lot of different slopes, as you can see over here, but I also wanted to have a couple of slopes, just the same slopes. As you can see, I used the 1x2x3 slopes over here 2 times on top of each other, and I didn't do that on that side of the black gate, but I wanted to try using that over here, and I think it really creates a sort of effect that stretches out the mountain into, of course, the bigger part over here. And I'm definitely going to have a couple of areas which are going to slope into a little bit of a sort of curve over here, but that's something for, of course, the future of building the rock work, because right now we're going to take a closer look at all of my sloping techniques over here. So at the bottom of the mountain over here, I actually still have these 1x2 slopes over here, definitely really useful for, of course, making sure that the slopes are integrated well with, of course, the landscaping sloping into the rock work over here. So that definitely looks great. The main thing I wanted to do for the big mountain over here is actually making sure that this mountain is going to be steep on the bottom. So as you can see, this part is really steep. It really is not really sloping into the landscaping over here like a regular mountain, for example. Over here you can really see that slopes into the landscaping over here, but I wanted it to be really steep on this side over here, as you can see. So that definitely looks great in my opinion, because I can have a sort of cavern over here with a lot of orcs marching through. I want to have a huge orc army right over here marching towards the black gate over here, which of course is going to open, and I'm just going to go and open up the black gate over here. So as you can see, the black gate is going to fully open, and I'm going to have a lot of orc armies marching from all over Mordor. This area right over here is actually going to be connected to my future Barad-dûr MOC. Yes, I'm going to build Barad-dûr. A lot of you have asked it frequently, so here's my answer. I'm going to build Barad-dûr in the future, and this area right over here is actually going to be connected to a future Barad-dûr MOC. Yes, that's the Tower of Sauron with the eye, and I'm going to have a lot of orc armies marching from that area right over there into this sort of lowered area of the landscaping right over here, and that's definitely going to look great in my opinion. As you can see, we got a force of Moria and, of course, Mordor orcs marching over here, and they're actually marching towards the Black Gate of Mordor for the preparations of the battle at the Black Gate. So that definitely looks great. As you can see, I got a small orc force over here. And as you can see over there, I got a lot more orcs in my bags, and I also got a couple of orcs in some drawers over there. So this isn't even 1/10 of my orc army. That's just insane. But I'm definitely going to post some orc army videos in the future, so stay tuned for that. But returning to the rock work over here, as you can see, I'm really happy with everything, and I'm actually also experimenting with a couple of techniques. I also added this piece right here, as you can see, to this brick with the stud on the side, and I think it really looks great. I want to add a lot more of these techniques throughout the entire mountain, so that definitely is going to look amazing in my opinion. Of course, I only added this part right here because I wanted to experiment with it, but I'm definitely going to add a lot more of those pieces all throughout this area right over here above the main foundation of the rock work over here. So that definitely is going to look great. And as you can see over here, I also added a couple of snot techniques to the mountain. I think it really ended up looking nicely over here. I sort of wanted to integrate it into the rock work with the slopes over here. So I sort of made a couple of slopes will sort of curve into this snot technique piece right over here. These are just actually 2 plates with a couple of slopes on top of them, and I actually sort of built that technique by, of course, using these pieces right here. So I placed them on top of the burp piece like this over here, as you can see. So I placed them like this, and then I added a couple of slopes on top. And the technique isn't perfect yet, but I'm definitely gonna practice with building inside of this technique, because that's definitely gonna look great if I integrated that technique throughout the entire mountain over here. So that definitely is gonna look great in my opinion. But I'm sort of experimenting with that technique, and it isn't perfect yet, but it's going to look a lot better when I finish the entire mountain. I promise you that. But yeah, I'm really happy with this sort of steep little mountain over here. It almost looks like a huge wall, but I think it really just looks amazing, like a sort of big mountain over here just being sort of steep, and then of course it's going to curve into a huge mountain over here, so that definitely is going to look great. As you can see, I got this area right here which is still open, and I'm sort of well, it really is hard to fill in this sort of corner piece right over here. As you can see, it's a corner, so I don't have any burp pieces over here, so I really need to use a lot of these pieces right here to fill that in. But I try to limit using these pieces as much as possible, because I still need to use a lot of those pieces for the landscaping on that side of Mordor, so that definitely is something I need to keep in mind. But yeah, I'm really happy with this area. I just need to fill it in a bit more, and of course make sure that I solve the problem with, of course, no burp pieces being used over here, because the mountain is going to be a lot higher, and it's really hard to every time, of course, fill in this section. That really is a bit of a challenge. So I want to make sure that this area right over here is actually going to sort of be connected to this area right here, so I don't have a gap between the two burp sections over here, which is definitely a big challenge, but I think I'm up for the challenge, and I think I'm definitely going to be able to solve that challenge in a future episode. But over here, as you can see, this area right here is actually sort of a, well, next to, of course, this big wall piece of the black gate. It's really, as you can see, huge, but this area is going to tower this wall piece over here, so it's going to be till, well, continue till right about this height over here, so that definitely is going to look good in my opinion. But I'm really happy with this curve over here. As you can see, I sort of added these 1x3 slopes over here. That definitely looks great, as you can see. And while time-lapsing, actually, I was actually building a lot of the rock work, but I also had to remove these bricks over here with the studs on the side, because this rock work was actually bumping into the bricks with the studs on the side. So I had to remove a couple of those pieces. But I think I'm going to be able to manage, of course, adding a lot of those plate systems over here. As you can see, these sort of plates, which I used on the back of the black gate, I'm also going to add those on these pieces right here. So those are just going to be some black panels with a lot of detail. That definitely is going to look great, and I'm really looking forward to finally finishing this part of the black gate right here, because that's definitely going to look great with the entire black gate scene set up. But yeah, I'm really happy with all of the rock work over here on the front, but I also want to show you a little bit of course, the inside of the mountain over here. So as you can see, I got a lot of pieces lying around over here, and I'm actually going to show you how I actually built this rock work over here. So that really is something interesting to show you. So over here, as you can see, I got these pillars over here, really sturdy, and I will put them all throughout this entire burp piece section, as you can see. So that definitely is something supportive for the rock work over here, so I can definitely just smash it and it won't budge a thing. So yeah, the main reason why I added all of these pillars is for support. As you can see, I still need to add a couple of pieces underneath the burps over here, but I don't really need a lot more pieces. For example, if you're not using burp pieces, you're definitely going to need a lot more pieces for underneath the rock work, and that's something I wanted to prevent using, so I'm really just on, of course, a low piece count over here, and that's definitely something which I'm happy with, because I want to work as efficiently as possible with using parts. But if we're going to take a closer look, as you can see, I got, of course, the landscaping part right over here. This area is all going to be empty for now. I'm also going to add some caves in here as well in the future, so that's definitely something epic to look forward to. But over here, as you can see, I got 1, 2, 3 burp pieces over here, so those are really useful, and I think it really looks great from the inside, but the outside really is amazing with all of those slopes. But as you can see over here, we can see a lot of those burp pieces, and they're really sturdy. As you can see, you can just pull on them and they won't budge. That really is useful. And I also added a couple of those 2x2 bricks over here on the inside of these sort of attaching pieces of the burp, so that definitely adds a lot more support. But I need to add these pillars underneath, because if you add around let's say 5 burr pieces on top of each other without support, they're just going to fall over, and you're not going to be able to add a lot of slopes on, of course, the front of the burps without having a lot of problems occurring while building that, and of course after moving your MOC. But I really want it to be sturdy because I'm going to move this MOC around a lot to, of course, LEGO conventions, and of course just packing it up for just storage underneath my tables. That definitely is something I had to keep in mind while building the rockwork. I need it to be as sturdy as possible. And the main reason why I did that is because this section is actually modular. As you can see, it's modular. I can just pick up this thing and put it in a box, as you can see. That definitely is something useful. I'm gonna do that all throughout this mountain and of course on this side as well. So it's really useful that I got all of these parts of the landscaping right over here, which I'm going to show you in a second, to be modular. As you can see, I can just detach all of these Technic pins from the Technic holes over here, and that really makes sure that I have a lot of area to work with, and of course I can just really easily move this around without destroying the entire MOC and continue working on another LEGO The Lord of the Rings project when I'm done building the Battle at the Blackgate MOC, of course. But yeah, as you can see, it really is attached smoothly. I can just shove it in over here, right? As you can see, this part over here is a little bit harder because these are 2 Technic pins and they tend to, well, of course, be attached a little bit harder, but as you can see, this area right over here just shoves right in, so that definitely is great. And now I can just easily detach all of these pieces, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So as you can see over here, this whole area can just be detached of all of the landscaping over there. I can just remove the Blackgate itself, of course all of these pieces on the sides as well. I can remove the towers, so everything is going to be modular, and that's what I wanted to achieve with this Battle at the Blackgate MOC. And this is something I'm gonna do all throughout all of my Middle-earth MOCs. So when I'm gonna build Minas Morgul, Barad-dûr, Mount Doom, Cirith Ungol, Minas Tirith, all of those MOCs are going to be modular, so I don't have to destroy my MOCs, and I just can keep all of them intact, and I can set up an amazing Middle-earth MOC with all of the epic locations from Middle-earth. That's definitely something I want to achieve in the future, so I'm really hyped for that. But yeah, I'm really happy with all of the rock work over here, and of course the fact that I can just shove everything into place without having to destroy the entire part of the landscaping and rock work. I'm really happy with the rock work over here, and of course all the progress we've made with building the slopes, and of course I'm definitely going to add a lot more support underneath over here because I'm going to raise this rock work up till around this height over here. And I really hope to achieve that in the next episode of Building Mordor in LEGO. But yeah, I'm really happy with all of the progress we've made in this episode of Building Mordor in LEGO. And before I close off this episode of Building Mordor in LEGO, I want to shout out one quote from the previous video's comment section. So here we go. We got a comment from VN Bricks over here. Middle-earth stands upon the brink of destruction. None can escape it. You will unite or you will fall. An amazing quote from, of course, the Fellowship of the Ring, the Council of Elrond, which really suits with, of course, Building Mordor in LEGO. So I want to thank you for your support towards the series. And if you want your own The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit quote to be featured in the next episode, episode 17 of Building Mordor in LEGO, I suggest you go and just comment your favorite quote from The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and I will shout out 5 more quotes in the next episode of Building Mordor in LEGO. And if you did enjoy watching this video, of course, let me know by leaving a like to support this video. Go subscribe to Brickley if you are new to my channel. And of course, ring that notification bell to stay updated on when I post any LEGO videos. And we've hit 3,300 subscribers. So I want to thank every single one of you for subscribing. And if you haven't yet, just go subscribe, smash that subscribe button to support Building Mordor in LEGO. I want to thank every single one of you for subscribing and of course supporting this series. And I'll see you all in the next episode of Building Mordor in LEGO.
It's in the air like a blazing flare. Cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you